Hi, my name's Nonny, and the title of the talk today is We Should All Be Economists, because we all should be economists, but not enough of us are. So, about me, I work at Positive Money as the Youth Network Coordinator, and Positive Money is a research and campaigns organization which fights for a more sustainable, democratic, and fair monetary system. And we have lots of campaigns, but the one that I'm going to be talking about today is diversifying the Bank of England. So I'm going to ask you some questions first, because I think it really sucks to just talk at people. So first question is, I want you to put your hand up if you think this is true. Economics is about numbers. Cool. Economics is about people. Great. Economics is fair. Nice. And I feel like economics should be left to the experts. Brilliant. And one more question. I feel like I can speak about economics. That's really great. So, I think the question that I'm going to start off with is when I asked you all that whether you feel like economics should be left to the experts. So, the other day, I Googled the top 10 British economists, and what do we see? We just see lots of people from a very similar background. So, I had some really great statistics which also give an idea of what an expert is. So, the first one is 85 of politicians. We did a study as Positive Money. We found out that 85% of politicians don't know where money comes from, which is weird considering that they're going to make decisions about us and the world. It's weird. And women just fill 2 out of 23 positions on the Bank of England's 3 major policy-making committees, which is crazy because, So, and the proportion of people of color, I'm going to be saying people of color throughout this presentation to refer to, maybe people say BME, but I'm going to be, so people of color in the Bank of England's senior positions, 6.2%. And there are no statistics available on the number of disabled people holding senior positions within the Bank of England, which is a bit suspicious. And also, there are only 26% of economic students are women. And only one woman has ever won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2009, and her name was Elinor Ostrom, which is interesting considering that economics is supposed to be representative of everyone, but then we have certain people who are not represented in decision-making committees. And so, following this, it makes it sound as if when you think about that, all these people in senior positions tend to be white men from very privileged backgrounds. It makes it sound as if that there's a shortage of people of color, of women, of disabled people who are talented enough to be going up and doing all these positions, which I personally don't think is true, and I know is not true. And as a youth network coordinator at Positive Money, I spend a lot of my time thinking about this because we want an economy that's representative of everyone. And why is it that certain types of people are making decisions on behalf of the entire population? And so I narrowed it down to 2 things, which was the first one is structural inequalities. So I recently found the statistic which really shocked me, and it said that in 2016, of the students entered for A-levels, 77% were white compared to just 5% of black students. And also that disabled people have to apply for 60% more jobs than non-disabled people, and there's still an 18.1% pay gap between men and women, which really points to the structural inequalities that certain minority groups face, which stops them from being represented in these decision-making places, and we end up having our decisions made for us, and so austerity. And I also thought another part of the thing that stops people from minority backgrounds from taking up senior positions and also being able to make it, to be in decision-making spheres is also because of but then also because economics is there's a lot of mystification of politics, so most people feel like they couldn't economics. Most people feel like they couldn't talk about economics, and they feel like you have to be right or wrong, you have to be an expert. But then considering that economics is something that we experience every day, like now, buses are really expensive. I'm from London, and it's really expensive to just travel to one zone to another zone, and like that's economics. It's expensive, so like a couple of weeks ago, Conservative MPs have voted to end free school meals. That's economics. So it's like where we're choosing to put money and where we're choosing to take out money. And most people don't understand. And like there was a statistic done by Economy which showed that a study done by Economy which shows that only 12% of the UK public feel that those in the media and in politics talk about economics in a way that they can understand. And also women and POC, people of color, and people from lower socio-economic backgrounds also consistently rate themselves lower in understanding and confidence in relation to financial literacy, which is really, I find it quite a sad thing considering that we are the ones, or like people in lower socio-economic positions tend to be the ones who are most hard hit by effects of the economy. So, so thinking more about this, I thought that thinking more about this is that when we think about how the economy is talked about and how certain people are left out of it, it privileges certain narratives of the world and people's experiences of the world, which leaves certain people out. And like as humans, we understand in stories, and that's how change happens. And if certain stories are left out, then how are we going to make change? And yeah, so my idea for change, or Positive Money's idea for change, and just general, just how can we change the world, is we need to think about starting to demystify economics. So as Positive Money, we're part of a wider movement for monetary reform. And there's other organizations which I really recommend that you all check out, like Rethinking Economics, who are advocating for the change of the economics syllabus in universities. And they're trying to and also there's Economy, which is like a website and you can look for it, it's really great. And they make information about certain policy decisions that have been made that will affect people in a way that is like easy and accessible and inclusive. So for us to be active members in how we want to see the world, we need to first understand that world. And also another part of it, that's me, is we need to start by valuing people's experiences of the economy. So many of us are really struggling with, so lots of old people die every day because they cannot afford heating. And those are things that we need to be thinking about when we're thinking about the economy. But then these things aren't talked about. MPs don't talk about these things. When we start to value how the economy affects us in our everyday lives, even though we're not hearing about it in the media, we need to start by focusing on those things as well. And also, which is a really thing that I really believe in, we need to be empowering young people, women, people of color, disabled people, working class people, to take action against an unjust economy that is not representative of them by joining movements like Positive Money, Rethinking Economics. And there's a really great organizations as well called Disabled Activists Against Cuts. And what they do is they're trying to put an emphasis on how hard it is to be a disabled person under austerity, and having, I'm not sure, sorry, that's not important, sidebar, but so focusing on all these not the dominant experience of what the economy is and focusing on what our experiences of it are. So basically, I want you all to all be economists, because you are economists. You are all getting paid. Well, some of you aren't getting paid because you're kids, but we're all active members of society, and we need to be taking action against things that are not representative of us. So we should all be economists, because we must all work together to rewrite what economics and the economy is, who it's for, and what it's for, and what we want from it. And yeah, thank you very much.